Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we put together headlines. Well, we don't put together. Well, yes, we do put them together. We just don't make them up. Headlines from our city, our state, and our country. We share them with you along with your comments, ideas, and questions and suggestions so that we can all end up with the benefit of this information as we live our lives here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is Friday the 19th, all day long. Yes. And thank God it's Friday. And today we're going to start, actually, let me set this up. I have an important question that I want to share with you, so I'm going to put it on the screen. And this has to do with whether, oh, come on, Facebook, cooperate with me. This has to do with my love for music. As you know, I love music, and I've been doing music appreciation lectures here and there. And Facebook is not letting me publish this post. Come on, Facebook. Be nice to me. Well, I'm going to tell you what it is while Facebook decides whether I'm going to be able to publish a poll or not. I'm very happy doing music appreciation stuff. And music, as you know, is really important to me. But sometimes I wonder if I am rubbing it on your face too much. And I've had a dormant Facebook page that I used to use to promote only music-related things, and I'm wondering if I should resurrect this page and move all my music stuff to that page, or if I can continue increasing the amount of promotion that I give my music-related pursuits here on the Coffee and Headlines page. I don't want to overwhelm those of you that don't care much about music with excessive information, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to show you this poll. Please give me 1 second. No. But active broadcasts. Nah. Okay. Ni modo. There's not going to be a Facebook poll this morning. I'll find a way to get more information from you. So the option is, do I continue to mention the music things here? Just write music in a comment. If you don't care much about music, just write elsewhere in a comment. No judgment. I know that music is not for everyone. I know that not everyone is here in town and not everyone is concerned about the music stuff that I do. I will get the word out one way or another, but I want to make sure that the pursuits for Coffee and Headlines continue to be the focus here. That's all I have to say. Now, all that said, well, see, a lot of people saying music. which is nice. Now, that what that means to me is that you don't mind that the music stuff is here, and I appreciate that. And of course, Scott, who is knowledgeable in creating Facebook pages and marketing, says, create a separate page for your music. It would be better for your ranking on Facebook for unique views. This is very true. The flip side of that is that, we're lazy and we don't necessarily want to be wandering from one Facebook page to another. So all feedback is good and very much appreciated. Again, this is very important to me, and that's it. So with that out of the way, and thank you for your very informal. Oh, Daniel, I love you, Daniel, because you're putting me to good work. Daniel says, do both. And I can do both, I suppose. Well, I just don't want to overwhelm you here at Coffee and Headlines with things that that you're not interested in, and that's all I'm going to say. Now, moving on with our regular broadcast. As always, I welcome everyone that is watching, particularly those of you that are watching live. If that is your case and you're watching live for the first time, please let me know by adding the word new to your comment, and we'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. If something specific is on your mind that you wish to share that is important to you, adding a capital letter Q to your comment helps a great deal in finding those comments later on, just as Scott did in this comment. Blame it on the Bossa Nova evening was lots of fun. We had a great time at the Secret Wine Bar. Yes, we did, and we're going to talk about that later on today. I am so nurtured by those of you who have been attending the music presentations on a regular basis. There's a bunch of you, and it gives me so much, it nurtures my soul so much to see other people interested in the intricacies of music. Okay, so I think we are good to go. So we might as well get started with our news. Let me just put them on my main screen, and here we go. We start with excellent news of a project that refuses to go away, and this is wonderful. Back during the pandemic, we reported a number of times on the evolution of the new Puerto Vallarta History Museum. You may or may not remember this, but at the time, the nonprofit was attempting to purchase a property in El Centro to establish that property as the museum and hold its content and collections of artistic and cultural items, from books to paintings and so forth. Unfortunately, they did not manage to meet their financial goals, so the purchase of the property was not possible. But undeterred, they purchased a bus instead and decided to adapt it to create an itinerant exhibitions in this bus. Think about this as a cultural partridge family adventure. And of course, the good news is that the new bus will be ready and inaugurated on May 31st, coinciding with our city's foundation anniversary celebrations. In the article, we can see our friend and local artist, Ada Colorina, decorating the bus. She is collaborating with Marcela Lepe, who's the daughter of the iconic Puerto Vallarta artist Manuel Lepe. Now, if you had been following the museum page, they're still using the same Facebook museum page. It has just been rebranded to their new pursuit, which is called Ruta Mushi, and I will leave you with the link in the show notes today. I'm really excited about this project because I know that Carla Moreno has been working really hard with a number of people in town at preserving the very important history of our city for future generations. So we wish them the best of good fortune with this project. Now, moving right along, I include this one just because it's almost too funny to pass. While groups of locals continue to protest against having to verify their vehicles responsibly, the city administration has officially authorized the construction of a second verification center in Mojoneras. And the authorization is not even new. It goes back to January 31st of last year. However, no such construction has begun. Next. That's all I have to say about this one. And my next news item that caught my attention is that Oxxo has plans to introduce technology into some of its convenience stores by way of self-service checkout modules and digital banners that will allow for better communication with their customers, or so they say. Presently, the technology has been deployed in a single shop in a municipality in the state of Nuevo León, right next to the city of Monterrey. And as far as I know, the only store here in Puerto Vallarta that has implemented self-service checkouts is Walmart. I understand it's happening at the Walmart in front of the Maritime Terminal, but I've seen it in action, and I've actually done it myself at the Walmart in Macro Plaza. I've also heard through the grapevine that Walmart's self-checkout initiative has failed to meet expectations. I Googled this morning and found an interesting article on the topic by The Guardian. Now, if you write the word Guardian in your comment by itself, I'll be happy to include that article in the show notes. Otherwise, I'll just read it on my own. Now, moving right along, let us take a look at the weather forecast for the weekend. Is it raining yet? No, it isn't. And oh, that is so funny. Ron DeSantis finally succeeded in his quest to get the Star Wars hotel shut down. Oh, yeah. I'm not even going to comment on that. It is 28 degrees right now. Feels like 29. Humidity is high at 68%, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 82. Our weather forecast for today says it's going to be a humid day with mostly cloudy skies throughout the day. Chance of precipitation only 7%, with a high of 31 and a low of 23 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow, Saturday, we can expect humidity with overcast skies throughout the day, a chance of precipitation of 9%, a high temperature of 30 and a low of 24. And then Sunday, we can expect a humid day with mostly clear skies with a high of 32 and a low of 24. There you go. Now, let's see what else we have. I have some updates that you may find interesting. Hopefully you will. The first one has to do with what we mentioned yesterday about Kintapaloma, a Mexican family-style restaurant located in the surroundings of Pitillal, where they usually feature or regularly feature great traditional Mexican music. And we talked about their ongoing series of Mexican fiestas that feature live mariachi bands. And our friend Gary Green was kind enough to mention the next one, which is going to happen on the 26th of May from 7 p.m. to midnight. And this one is going to feature two live mariachi bands, the Real de América Mariachi International and the Mariachi Internacional Joya de México. This costs 550 pesos to listen to the mariachi, and it includes dinner. Family style, Mexican traditional. So 550 pesos to get two mariachi bands performing live along with your dinner. It's not that much more expensive than some of those restaurant week menus out there. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Also, for those looking for an updated schedule of events during Gay Pride, Vallarta Pride has released an updated schedule by way of a series of JPEGs in a Facebook post that I will link in the show notes after the broadcast. I know that some of you had been interested in learning more about events that are not the usual parties, and some of those events are included here, from film screenings to conferences and so forth and so on. And of course, the fact that our state Congress did not approve an official celebration of Puerto Vallarta's 105th anniversary as a municipality and 55th anniversary as a city is not going to stop the local Department of Culture from throwing the usual shindig at Los Arcos El Malicon. As usual, this will take place on May 31st in the evening, starting at 6 p.m. There will be fireworks, there will be mariachi and folkloric dancers, and a surprise artist. As usual, details are not presented until the very end. And now I have some show and tell that might interest you, particularly those of you that are not here in town. As you know, I had my music appreciation presentation at the Joint Hotel yesterday, so I went into town a little early to find something to eat. And as I was crossing the Insurgente Street Bridge, I couldn't help but to notice how little water is running on the Cuale River by the time it reaches the Insurgente Street. You have to remember that as the river comes down from the mountains, a number of people find creative ways to extract water from the river by way of using hoses and things like that. So I know that there is more water on the river because I went swimming up in the mountains in the river last weekend. It was the most glorious, refreshing experience. But for those of you that haven't ventured over the Insurgentes Bridge in a while, this is what one of the streams of the river looks like. This is the side that corresponds to Encanto, which you can almost see on the right-hand side. There is not a drop of water going down the river on this side. And if you look at the other side of the island, there's just an itty-bitty tiny stream. There is nothing moving or very little water moving. Again, hopefully the drought will not consume us and rains will hopefully start coming down sometime in the near future. Now, I was looking for a place to have a nice, non-complicated, not very expensive lunch near Emiliano Zapata, which is not always easy. And guess where I ended up? I ended up at the Mercado, at the Isla Rio Cuale market, which you may or may not know has a series of small traditional fondas or eateries on the second story. And so they're all located next to each other on this aisle. They all have like open areas or open windows or open. They're open to the river. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, I settled on this one called Fonda La Marina, where I checked that they had very affordable food. I ended up ordering some enchiladas, an order of 3 enchiladas, 70 pesos for 3 enchiladas. And while I was waiting for my order to come out, I noticed La Jefa. La Jefa was sitting on one of the tables, quite dedicated at keeping track of her money and her accounting. And I just thought it was fun to see how people came in and said hello to her. And this is what came to my table, this delightful plate with rice and beans and 3 chicken enchiladas with veggies on top of them. My bill ended up being, and I ordered a glass of agua de horchata or rice water. So the bill came up to 80 pesos. I left a 20 peso tax, a tip, not tax, and I left very happy using the new ramp that takes you all the way up to the second level of the market, and headed over to the Joint Hotel, where we had a very, very fun lecture of about Brazilian music. Presentation, not lecture. And of course, our dear friend Chris and his husband Carlos from the Secret Wine Bar had promised us a night of thank you promos for anybody that showed up and with a ticket stub at the bar after the presentation. And let's see, there were, and I'm sorry for this photograph. I took this photograph using my phone's artificial intelligence, doing one of those pano photos in which you go from one end of the screen to the next. So some of your faces look slightly disfigured, but there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of us sitting at the Secret Wine Bar. Chris and Carlos kindly treated us to a glass of wine and a series of cheese platters as appreciation, and we were very, very happy to enjoy ourselves for a while. We continued talking about music. I got a chance to get some of the regular viewers a little better, get to know them a little better, and it was a great evening overall. And this, my friends, is what we have to present today. I'm very, very grateful. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I continue to be so grateful at the way Chris from the Secret Wine Bar reached out to me early on when they opened and just introduced himself in an email message in the nicest way, saying, how can you help us get our bar better known? And just the way he went about it was so genuine that we've been very happy to promote the Secret Wine Bar while he has been open. And not only promote it, but we've been frequently attending. It is a great place to catch a cocktail or a glass of wine. Of course, the season is ending for the Secret Wine Bar sometime in the very near future, as Chris and Carlos cannot logistically adapt their space to provide the service they provide during the summer months, because he doesn't have a ceiling and so forth and so on, and it's going to rain and it's going to get muggy. You know the drill. But we wish them lots of success during the summer months as they charge their batteries in Europe, and we keep our fingers crossed, hoping that the Secret Wine Bar will come back in the same location next fall, or who knows, maybe they'll come back in a different location. Best of luck. And now we move on to our comments. As always, I thank you for all your comments, your good mornings, your questions, and I'm looking for your cues. Paco Shave, clean face, summer look. It's hot. It's hot, but give me a week and I'll get tired of shaving and I'll grow it again. It's just the way it goes. Let's see what we have. Don't move it, promote. Eric, it was a pleasure to see Eric, the owner of the Joint Hotel, at our lecture yesterday. Eric is a sweet, sweet, dear friend of mine, and we had interesting conversations about promotion and artificial intelligence. I tell you, there are so many resources out there for those of us that are constantly finding creative ways or trying to find creative ways to self-promote. I am so tempted to put together a presentation about this, but I don't know if people would go and watch it. But there you have it. Let's see what else we have. Then I'm looking at all your comments about where the music information should go, and I appreciate your feedback. Thank you. Rick says elsewhere. And again, no shade about that. Most people want to see the information to continue here. Some people say elsewhere. That's okay. Probably I'll end up doing both things. Let's see. Music. Keep the music in your broadcast. Just to clarify, that does not mean that I will never talk about music here at Coffee and Headlines, because there's a lot of music-related news that we can share, provided that it is music that we find. Well, never mind. Good music. We will continue to always talk about music here at Coffee and Headlines. Let's see. This doesn't have a cue, but it is precious. Funny, I have learned to ignore things that don't interest me and pay attention to those that interest me. Being 52 has advantages I missed in my young years, I suppose. Gary, I can totally relate to that. Yeah, in my younger years. Let's see what else we have. Pat, you are missed, and I can't wait for you to come back. Let's see. Another nice report from our friend Michal. Learned so much about bossa nova music last night and tasted some delicious wine at the Secret Wine Bar. What a great combo. I loved it. Let's see. I see a few people requesting the article from The Guardian on Walmart. I'll be so very happy to include it in the show notes. Thank you so much for your feedback. Scott reports that they eat at the market all the time. Very yummy food. I have to agree. Let's see. Sherry says, wow, the food looks great. We will have to try that restaurant. Why did I choose that restaurant? I chose it randomly. There seemed to be space for me to sit down, and it smells good. But I would go back to any of the eateries at the Mercado without hesitation. Let's see what else we have. Doom 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 doom. Oh, you're not alone. Brian comments, Chris and Carlos are good peeps. Gonna miss them for the summer. That makes two of us. Absolutely. Sad to hear it's changing. Well, it's not that it is changing, Pat. It's just that, given where it is set up in a little courtyard surrounded by buildings without a roof on top of it. It is definitely not a convenient place to be during the summer months. And Kathleen says, I hope Chris and Carlos will stay in the cluster during their summer travels. I hope so too. And Eric gives us a nice reminder that the Mercado Emiliano Zapata also has fondas for us to choose to eat there on a budget, and I should definitely go and check those out in the near future. Well, next time I find myself in Emiliano Zapata, which coincidentally is going to be today. So there you have it. This was our broadcast for this Friday. I hope everyone will have a wonderful weekend. It's going to be a busy weekend for me, and just working on projects and staying afloat. I must say that the rate exchange, as it improves for the dollar, for Mexican peso, is taking a toll on my income, unfortunately, because most of my income comes from U.S. dollars. But that doesn't deter me from looking for other sources of revenue, and that's what we do. And speaking of revenue, just a humble reminder, we are here thanks to your financial support. We are always grateful for your memberships. We are always grateful for your random cups of coffee. They go a long way to make sure that we can continue providing the information and the service that we do. So we are grateful, Luna and I wish you the best weekend possible. Have a good one.